Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 22 as always, and we return with some league racing action, this time BRS Round 8 at Spa, and you can see by the title of this video, a bit of a controversial one, so make sure you get your popcorn and watch it till the end because there is plenty of action until the very last lap. And you can see by the standings that were just up on the screen, since Elite has actually missed the last two races, the one at Miami because he actually didn't check the attendance on time, and we've actually are not that far behind in the championship, and we could have been a lot further behind if he did do the two races. I think he probably would have won them with his pace, but yeah, sometimes it's slow and steady and being consistent that can win the race, and that's certainly something we need in this championship. But Elite, Otis Lawrence, which you'll see by the top of the leaderboard there, a 41.9. That's a 42.1 as a banker, which is just absolutely nuts. But yeah, we'll take you through this race, showing you plenty of footage and actually some different onboards as well. And kind of like with Miami, I was feeling fairly confident coming into this race. My PB was a 42.1, so Elite has already beaten that. But this track don't always need to be on pole position, and the setup I was running was very low downforce. I think it was 2-1 wing, so extremely low. And really the game plan was to try and qualify on the front row and try and stick with him in the DRS, save more ERS, and then use it to overtake. That was really the game plan. But you'll see by this lap, didn't feel particularly bad, but I was quite disappointed with this qualifying lap. In the practice, I did quite a bit of preparation and was always getting 0.2s, 0.3s at the minimum. Never really went slower than a 0.3 when I did my best lap in a qualifying practice, so I was expecting that at the very least, and maybe a little bit more, see if we could set a new PB, but you can see here just not quite hooking up the curves and the apexes like you need to. A little bit hesitant on the throttle here, and I'm using a little bit higher gear, so for some of the corners I was using gear 5, turn 1 normally I go down to gear 2, but I use gear 3, so still in that process of trying to adapt myself to those high gears. But as we approach the last chicane, we're about a tenth and a half up and kind of maintain the delta going through here and going across the line. What is this going to be? It's a 42.4. As you can see by my reaction there, we were quite disappointed of that, but you can see Elite a 41.9, which is just absolutely outrageous. People like Levi in second place, certainly no slouch himself, having 3 temps on him. And no, he was definitely running higher downforce because you will see that in the race, but his first sector with higher downforce is just absolutely incredible. I think with his driving, he just gets on the power so effortlessly. He just gets amazing traction all the time. So got a bit of work to do in this race. So we've got 4 lights, 5 lights here, and as they go out now, trying to get a good start, and we definitely get a better start than E.T. Andre next to us. Just thinking back on the inside here, but then we have a McLaren just come out of nowhere down the inside, and thankfully we saw that coming and left a bit of room. And that could have been a lot worse, but we managed to just stay ahead of him. So maintaining the position at this stage of the race. But I knew that my straight line speed was going to be superior to most people, but we are a bit out of position. I really wanted to try and start in second and third to then try and just stick with Elite in his DRS zone, because kind of a strategy that Elite does, which is Otis Lawrence, and if you haven't worked that out already, is that he really likes to try and break the the DRS of the driver behind him. Every league race he does, he always tries to do that because he's very, very good at leading from a front of the race. So yeah, I was really hoping that Levi in second place at this stage could hang on to his DRS and maybe causing a few problems. But we do have FRA Kai in third place, who is the teammate in the same FRA team as Elite, as he does a 45.6 and we're doing a 42.7 on the same tyre. So yeah, once he gets into the lead, he's kind of like Sebastian Vettel back in the early days. He just absolutely goes, and it's very, very hard to to catch him again. But you can see here now we're still in 5th place, struggling a little bit at the start of this race. I was not particularly comfortable on these hard tyres for the first few laps, but as we come through at the end of sector 1, one of the hazards almost spins out, and that is going to be a gift of a position, now up into P4 behind FRA Kai. And now as we started to get into this race a bit more, we did become a bit more comfortable. So you can see we are closing in a bit. The gap is 3.8 seconds already to Levi up in second place. So the front two are absolutely gone at this stage. But you're about to see, now as we get more into the race, I think the more my setup will come into an effect as the fuel starts to go down. We don't have to rely so much on the downforce itself as my teammate goes into the pits. But you can see we're quite far behind FRA Kai, and are we going to use any ERS? The answer is no. Getting on the DRS, and you can see even without ERS, just a straight line speed, he doesn't even bother to defend. And now we are up into P3, so making up 2 positions, and the gap is now 5.2 seconds to Elite, 3.6 to Levi. So we're going to stay on board for the rest of this lap, because after this we actually started to have a little bit more pace and was definitely having a little bit more confidence in the speed and the driving itself. So the gap is still 5.2 seconds, 3.4 to Levi, and you can see we're using a bit of ERS now. In a straight line, we were an absolute bullet, pretty much in a straight line, and you will see that all the way down this straight. As we've turned off the ERS here now, you can see we gained quite a bit of time on Levi, but going through the corners immediately, we pretty much lose that time again. And we're just trying to use a bit of ERS here to maybe break out of the DRS zone of FRA Kai, because I felt like I had a bit more pace than him. But in this sector 2, that's why I was obviously losing the time, because of the lower wing. So I'm doing absolutely everything I can here to just keep pace with this front 2 and to break the DRS of the car behind. So at this stage of the race, I was actually fairly happy with how I was driving. I don't think I could have really driven much better than this with the setup, but I just needed to be in the DRS zone of this front 2, and I think if we did that, then we could have stayed with them with the race pace, even losing out in the middle sector. But you can see this lap, we've actually managed to close in just a little bit on this front 2, who I think might be in a bit of a cruising mode at this stage of the race. But nonetheless, I was pretty happy with the speed at this stage of the race. But as we skip to lap 6, you can see that gap is starting to come down even more, and we have now actually broken the DRS of FRA Kai up behind us. But you can see we're running a little bit lower on the ERS, so deciding to save it a bit more. So towards lap 11, they did eke out that gap just a little bit more, but not too much from Elite himself. But as we're coming through here, starting sector 3 of lap 11, as we come around this corner, there's an absolute car on the left-hand side, and who is that? It's fun. That is Elite, proving that he is actually human, as we are now going to see what has happened here. So coming through into here, he puts on his ERS,
Oh no. Jesus Christ. I crashed. I'm so shit.
And proving that he is human after all, I think he just left the ERS a little bit on for too long, and that made the back end of the car unsettled, and he just couldn't do anything about it. So now he's got damage as well, which I was pretty certain he did, as now he's going to have to come into the pits. Let's see how long his pit stop is actually going to be. So a very rare mistake, incredibly rare mistake, and normally he's like a robot, he just doesn't make any mistakes. And it's going to be a 7.4 second pit stop, and I was keeping an eye on that on the mini-map to see where he would come out, and this is like a huge opportunity for me in this championship to get back a lot of points and maybe even be level on points if we can complete this race quite strongly. So I decided not to box the next lap. A lot of people would have told me to do that, but I know how fast Elite is. I knew that he was going to be 5 seconds slow on the pit stop, so I know he's going to get a bit of an undercut, but I wanted the 2-lap fresher tyres in him, and I'm still confident that I was going to come out ahead because I was really looking on this mini-map, seeing where he was relative to other people. So the next lap, although Levi pitted the lap before us, but I knew that gap was probably a little bit too big, and my main concern is just to try and close in points on Elite right now rather than go for the outright win itself. So if we could just gain points on him, that's what we need to do. So we pitted 2 laps after him, and let's see where we are going to come out, because with 2-lap fresher tyres we should have better pace than him going towards the end of the race. So coming out here now, Levi is going to be quite a way ahead of us. You can see he sets the fastest lap of the race, and coming out here, where is he in relation? As he comes through the last corner shortly before, he's going to do an overtake on FRA Placky, setting the fastest lap and going down the inside of turn 1. So any gap he sees, and you can see we're quite a way ahead. So 4.5 seconds, 3.9 seconds up ahead of him, and he is running quite low on the ERS as well, and you can see we've got 41% ERS, so it's gonna take a little while for our tyres to heat up. So you can see we're weaving a bit on this straight, but that is a really good gap to have. And no, James B up ahead. PSR Nick has a 6-second penalty as well, and the next lap we started to actually close in on them, making sure that we're out of the DRS of FRA Kai as well. So at the moment, this race is actually really playing into our hands. Levi is quite far ahead, but he does have a 3-second penalty, so if he gets another one, could even be on for the win here, depending on how far his tyres drop off. But you can see Elite is 6% ERS, and is he going to get the DRS out of Kai? Yes, he does, but the gap between me and him is starting to extend.
Sorry, but I had to try and get close.
And yeah, he is incredibly low on the battery. He's got absolutely nothing. He's running on complete fumes because he is running higher downforce. And yeah, this is working perfectly for us. So as we come through to the end of the lap, you can see we've actually extended that gap even more since he wasn't able to overtake Kai. And we have got almost a 2-second gap on Kai himself. And we have about 40% of the ERS still to play with 2-lap fresher tyres. So right now, we're definitely going to beat him in this race unless we get a time penalty of some sort. And as we go up El Rouge Radillon, looks like Elite is probably going to make this overtake here now. And you can see again, with his ERS, we look at the ERS bar, he's got absolutely nothing in reserve, and it's going to be quite hard for him to reharvest that battery. So the gap was kind of staying at 2 seconds, and the longer this race goes on, the more pace we should have. So we've got plenty of battery to defend with, as HP455 has gone out of race, and that has now released a safety car. The absolute worst timing, very similar to Miami. With this here, we really didn't want a safety car because we were going to catch James B. We were catching him quite quickly. along with PSR Nick, we had the fresher tyres, we had the ERS, and Elite was on older tyres. But now, we're all going to be on the same tyres, and Elite's going to be able to get his ERS back to 100% again with his pace. That kind of gives the advantage back to him, because I think it's going to be very hard to keep him behind. So, as we come out of the pits here, we're going to be in the process of just warming up our tyres, and I'll stop speaking shortly because there's a bit of an incident that happens now, which was a bit controversial. So I'll let you watch this and, yeah, kind of see what happens here. So here we go.
What the fuck is he doing? He's on a fucking AI, man. He's fucking took me out. Fuck my life, man. He's paused the game and taken me out. What the fuck is he doing, man? Why is he... Yeah, he's taking me out because his AI has done it. This fucking AI is taking me out, man.
This is a possible win now. One sec, chat. 1 second. Does it have damage? No, I don't have damage. What happened to Teola must spin on the safety car? I've got damage as well. Why have I've got damage as well? Yeah. Oh, don't tell me Limitless hit me, man. What's he doing, for God's sakes? If he hits me,
Yeah. A very unfortunate incident, and I'll give you the steward's decision at the end of this video. Really, you can just let me know what you think of that. And obviously with myself, I'm going to probably be a bit biased. But the only thing I will say is, no, obviously people do pause with the AI under safety cars to check people's tyres and stuff as well, but you always kind of do it at your own risk. And we all know the AI in this game have a pretty insane straight line speed and acceleration. And yeah, I just wasn't expecting his AI to do that. So I don't think it's all completely his fault. Definitely not. If I saw he was on AI and it was coming up that quickly, then obviously I wouldn't be weaving. But yeah, I kind of didn't really expect it at all. And yeah, that's what happened. But I will leave it to you down below to kind of make your comments on that. But yeah, the only thing we could do now, the problem is that we've lost a position to Elite, so he has gained a little bit from that. And yeah, on equal tyres, him managing to save up all his ERS again, it's definitely advantage in his favour. And with the pace he has, it's going to be pretty hard to overtake him. But as we go then inside the back lane, we're going side by side up El Rouge, and thankfully we managed to leave him just enough room, and we're having to waste quite a bit of our ERS now to try and get this move done, which is something I didn't want to do. And yeah, you can see obviously we were frustrated in that incident, which I think most people would be, but we just tried to get on with it and make the most out of it, because I did know that there would be a stewards after this race. So I'm just trying to maximise everything I can at this stage of the race and try and focus until the flag drops. But yeah, the problem with the safety car being this late is that there's no DRS at the moment, and everyone's got their ERS quite charged up, as Mark Sosa makes a bit of a mistake here. He also has a 3-second time penalty as well, and right now we're not even going to get any points when I think it was looking quite promising to get a P2 in this race. So yeah, but as we come through into chicane, he actually decided to let us go, which was very generous of him. So maybe he feels that his penalty won't be getting removed, so he doesn't really want to fight any more than he needs to. as DRS has now been enabled. So we're on a penultimate lap of the race, going deep into turn 1. So not driving particularly well at this stage of the race. But the game plan now was just to try and conserve as much battery for this final lap. So as we come through into this last sector, you can see we've managed to save a little bit more of the battery here. And I was just hoping that people in front of me would be quite low, since they are running the higher downforce, and I'm just so much faster in a straight line, and I can just save a lot more battery. So that's really what I was gambling on at this stage of the race. So we're using the battery here of the Ferrari, but his red light is flashing, so he is under 10% of the ERS. So I knew in a straight line he was going to be a lot slower. So just making sure we get nice and close coming up the exit for this turn 1. BRS Ermine has a 3-second time penalty, so right now we are going to at least get a championship point, but you never know if that will be removed. So I'm just going to try and make up as many positions as I can here. So you'll be able to see in a straight line, we turn off the ERS quite early as we get side by side, because there's absolutely nothing you can do. And you can see with under 10% ERS, you lose quite a bit of straight line speed. And now coming into this last lap, we've got Supply Raptor and Ermine up ahead, and we're going to try and overtake Ermine up in front, and maybe even Raptor as well, just in case the McLaren's penalty does get removed. And there's a yellow flag up here, so maybe someone else has gone off. Really need a bit of luck now, and the yellow flag is coming out again, so I think someone might have had a bit more of an incident up ahead, but I think that was a bit further behind. As coming through into here, you can see Elite has actually made up quite a few positions, so he's been making great progress on these soft tyres, which I knew even if he was behind me, it was going to be very hard for him to, well, hard for me to keep him behind, because he's just absolutely just so fast. So we really didn't need that safety car that came out at the worst time, as we're coming through into the final chicane now. So this is absolutely our last chance. So we're doing a little bit of dummy to the left and then go down the inside here and making sure we leave some room. You can see all these cars are going side by side over here. So going through this last corner, get the traction on the exit and going across the line. Had a little bit of a hit from the McLaren, but going across the line, it's P7 after the penalties up ahead of me. 0.92 away from Dizzy as well. And yeah. But coming into the last chicane as well, this is Elite.
Oh, shit. I hit Goxley.
He makes contact with Goxley, so that could be another potential stewards. And yeah, became P7 here, but I can confirm that after the stewards, we were promoted to P6 because Elite received a 5-second penalty for pausing of the AI in that contact. You also got another 5-second penalty for hitting Goxley in the final chicane. And that means for the championship, the standings haven't been updated yet, but we have closed in on this championship. And yeah, never say never. You never know in this championship. If we can keep it consistent and have a bit more luck, then we never know what can happen. So yeah, a bit of a spicy one in the end, but we gained points in the championship, and that's the main thing we needed to do at the moment. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that race as well. I'm definitely enjoying myself a lot more in this game after putting a bit more time into it. So, hopefully that is showing. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great week, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.